Let's
Because
do
it
this
is
thing.
so fucking hot.
Right? Like outside, where the sun is actively trying to murder us, it is hot in the game too.
Well,
Yeah, we're just getting into some method acting here.
yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have to feel it. The trip um, last time got started, and as we learned, as we made our way south, the temperature began to creep up, and signs of the drought and the national crisis hitting Sweden becomes more and more apparent. It hits a little close to home as Tatiana's automatic writing literally spontaneously combusts. The uh, the the fallout simply being Tatiana's hand is crippled at the moment,
Oh no.
but doesn't have a long any kind of it went into the one stat that literally can't be reduced anymore. So, you know, we'll call it a draw, Tatiana.
You get away this time.
You can't cripple my weakest stat. It's already too weak to cripple.
And after some time on a rest, because the horses are laboring in this heat, the further south that you go, the warmer it is getting, the more that the horses need to stop. Ultimately, everything is put back together, and the group gets back in the coach and begins its way south to the Harita parish in the region of Smolandia. And as you continue south, what were signs of stress, withering plants, failed farms, begins to, like, the signs of what's happening begin to increase, in the sense that, number one, you're seeing abandoned farms, abandoned homes. You travel through a village that has like a couple of people who were in it. The coach stops there, but there's no services. The well is nearly dry. And after a break for the horses, the carriage has to continue forward. There are carcasses along the side of the road covered in flies. There are times where you pass small caravans of people who have their belongings literally in their bags slung over their shoulders, walking in the opposite direction of the direction that you're going. And the scope of this crisis is ubiquitous everywhere. It is a level, only the largest and tallest of the forests have held out. Everything that is, scrub and brush and farmland is brown, and in some areas on fire. You can see columns of smoke off in the distance. It's at this point, riding in the carriage, that the carriage slows and comes to a stop, and you look out the window, and you're not at a village, and you can hear the driver calling the team to a stop. And then you start to hear him disembark off the wagon.
I'd like to look out and see where we are, why we might have stopped.
Sure. So you look out and you look to the front, and the driver is walking up to a tree that has fallen across the road. And he starts to like kick at it and kind of push at it to see how heavy it is. You can kind of hear him grunting.
Tatiana is going to grandly get out of the carriage with her parasol and her little flip fan and like adjusting her hair as she goes over. What seems to be the problem, even though it's very clear what the problem is.
Absolutely. Roll a vigilance check for me, please.
Sure. I don't think I can hold my fan, a parasol, and opera glasses. So I don't think I get that advantage.
Not without arousing a lot of suspicion.
Well, you could be weird and holding the fan and the spyglass at the same time.
Maybe
In the same hand.
maybe Trish comes out with the umbrella, the parasol.
I don't know. Will you give that to me, Curry?
What am I giving you? I'm sorry.
Trish comes out with the parasol shading.
I'm shading
Tatiana while she has an opera glass that she's using to peer at the driver.
Sure.
Trish is just like, how are you holding any of that stuff? Didn't you just burn your hands?
I
me
like
help
this
you.
image of Tatiana and Trish. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'll give you 2 more for that.
Okay, let me roll one more.
Oh no,
'cause
wait,
that
I'm
was-
sorry. Was the opera glass just a +1?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Tati,
Okay.
you have to be careful with your hands.
So, are we running with that result?
Heck no, it's the beginning of the adventure. Let's push.
Do you have any? You don't have any conditions, do you?
No.
There's
She,
Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm looking at which condition to apply. And she's going to be angry at the tree
Angry at the tree.
It's the tree's
because
fault.
she is looking for her next true love, and this tree is in the way.
This tree is in the way. All right. So, in your anger about this tree, you spot, but this happens pretty quickly. On the other side of this felled tree, as the driver is going to push it with your opera glasses, you spot a very gaunt young man emerge from behind the log, and he's got a pitchfork.
But is he hot, though?
He looks hot.
He's a
like
gaunt
he's
young
sweating.
man.
He's sweating. It's hot outside, so he looks hot. No, he looks pretty bedraggled.
Does he have that Tim Burton charm?
We need to deal with Tatiana's thirst here.
Tati. Come on.
Now, because your glasses narrow your field of view,
Mhm.
what you don't see is from the side of the road next to you, and you feel the cool steel, circular steel, the end of a muzzle kind of push into you. The problem is, rich folk coming down here showing off where's people need things. This is a stick up. And from the other side of the wagon, Ernst, you also see a person come up from rolling kind of out from underneath a dry brush with a pitchfork. And this is a stick up.
Oh no.
So-
Hand over your valuables.
Is the guy pointing a gun at me hot?
Okay. All right. Oh my god.
Okay. So,
Trish is just like. Oh.
I had to roll. I've just rolled my
Oh, sweet memories.
right. So Quinn, I've just rolled my 1 through 6 die that I always have to roll with what was his name?
It was Burl.
Burl. I've just rolled my
Burl.
Burl.
Oh my god.
So I have determined
Such a good
that this
name.
brigand is of the persuasion that might find you attractive. So now we can move
Perfect.
forward to answer the question. He looks gaunt,
Mm-hmm.
bedraggled, clothes
Yep.
very worn. He seems to be a bit older.
Okay.
He's the one with the musket. Probably maybe the leader of the group. I don't know if that impacts the hotness value or not.
Yep.
And
Leadership is always sexy.
and,
Got it.
Oh,
okay,
Keep
very
going.
good. Yeah, leadership is always sexy. And then, like, if you squint real hard past the soot and the dirt on his face, right? You know, yeah, maybe there's something there. Maybe there's something there. But right now he says, hand over your valuables and no one gets hurt.
I want to manipulate him,
I bet Tatiana does.
and I'm wearing makeup, and I have my fancy dress on, which means I get +2.
Okay.
Trish is just gonna hand over the parasol. She's like,
I'm done.
He takes it. he's got the musket, right? And then he has
I'm
to
gonna-
like
I'm gonna
take
pull my
it.
pockets out.
He's
to show
still
that
got
I
his
got
hand where
nothing
like
in
the
them.
trigger is, but he's got to like take it and he kind of like throws it behind him and then gets back to a ready position.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, just to keep the scene rolling, the driver's kind of coming back with his arms up here like, we don't want any trouble. I'm just dropping some folks off. Times are too hard for me too. Like, I don't have anything. And then on your side, Ernst, the guy with the pitchfork is now approaching your door with a pitchfork. Get out, get out. Where are your valuables? Where are your valuables?
I am going to gesture to my paper that I've been writing on, my books, and as I exit the carriage or coach, I am going to just tell him, I don't believe they'll be of any use to you right now. I do this. I literally put a finger up, and not pulling out a weapon, and I reach for my flask of liquor.
Ooh.
This is the only thing I have that might be of use to you. I hold it out in a very I don't want to make trouble
Oh,
kind
no,
of
he
way.
just snatches it right away. It's just bashed right out of your hand. Edward, I know you're chomping at the bit. And
Oh
so am
yeah,
I.
no.
I'm gonna
He's-
swing. I'm gonna swing back over to Tatiana and Trish really quick, and then we're gonna come back to you.
Damn it!
Because I know I want before shenanigans happen. I want to play out this Tatiana thing because I feel compelled. It might be in my contract that I have to give somebody for Tatiana.
I think it is too. Yeah.
Okay, Tatiana. So
So-
he's taken the parasol. He's kind of thrown it behind himself. He's got the musket back.
And he's demanded.
Where's your money?
I don't have any money, but my valuables. And she's just going to like subconsciously put one arm under her chest and lean forward. I mean, what's my virtue worth?
Oh my God, Todd.
No one has any
Tati.
money to buy that sort of stuff. We need food. We need money. You have money. You bought all these clothes with it. Where's your money? Quit messing around. Hurry up. Wow. Okay. All right. That's a success.
It's only one. I'm not
shoot.
rolling great today.
Yeah, no, that's
So
okay. Because
I do have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Does this guy appear younger or older than Edward?
The guy on your side with Ernst?
No, with the gun.
Everyone's younger than you.
Okay, cool.
Everyone
I'm pretty
is
sure
younger than you.
everyone's younger than you. Or this guy might be the same age as you. Kind of tough to tell behind all of the grime. I really should put a tab for these skills because I need to remember what I'm resisting manipulation with. Oh, here we go. Hotness, mind control. Here we go. Oh, that's right. Observation, because I'm reading the room. Does this guy have any observation at all? The answer is no. But he has empathy. 2 whole dice. I can beat it.
You could.
Yeah, it's entirely possible.
I'm not going to. Okay. So. He says, that's not what we came here for. Just we need to be able to eat. So just nah. I mean, I'm sure you're a fine person, and just hand over the money, and if you could, just there might be a little bit of flushness emerging from underneath the grime. He's you've definitely redirected you've broken his OODA loop. He is reassessing what he is here for. So that's enough time. That's enough funny stuff. Edward, what are you doing?
I'm getting out on the side of the cart where the guy with the gun is on.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm drawing my weapon, and as he's getting distracted, I pull it up at him and just be like, you don't want to go down that road, son.
So that's very good. Let's see. I'm going to give him a chance at vigilance, but I am going to give him a deduction because of the success of the manipulation. So yeah, he would not have. I mean, the success he rolled, he's not going to get because of the deduction. So that's our scene, right? He's kind of flustered. He's kind of got the gun in Tatiana's belly, and then all of a sudden, there's this from out of the side of the camera, boop. You can kind of see his eyes go wide a little bit, and he kind of like looks at you, and he's like, "Hey, we just no one has to get hurt here."
Yeah, and he just sees a cold, dead look, and I'll be like, "You're right. No one has to."
Ooh.
Pa, are you okay over there? One of the guys with the pitchfork who's escorting the driver back now has eyes on this. Pa, what are we doing, Pa? He's got a gun. You said we were the only ones going to have guns. And Ernst, the guy who's taken the flask from you now, is like, kind of like, yeah, I think he's going to make a move for you. I think he's going to operate on his own to try to grab you, because he thinks things are going sideways from what he's hearing.
Well, that's very unfortunate.
It's all right,
folks. I'm about to be a hostage.
We'll find out. Oh, here we go. That's a force roll. There. Well,
And...
I mean, why don't you go ahead and roll a force there, Ernst?
Okay.
Hey, look
Ernst,
at that.
you have him.
No.
Nice.
He goes for you, but he's clearly not thinking properly about how to go about this. Technically, in this case, all you would be able to do is exchange initiative cards with him, but we don't have initiative cards, so that success beats his no successes. So I'll give you a choice here. You can just grapple him, you can disarm him, you can take your alcohol back. What do you want to do with that success?
I would like to...
Or just take the pitchfork.
Yeah, I would like to take the pitchfork. I'm just doing it. We are not doing this.
Not today.
He does not have a lot of strength in him. Yeah, he's very emaciated and so surprised. You know, like, you're used to being on the wrong end of the force check. Only this time, you have benefited from like food and water for the last couple of months, and these guys seem to have not. And he kind of like staggers back. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, and he starts to bug out. All right. The two who are escorting the driver, one of them says, stay with the driver, and he comes around to the other side, and he kind of starts to move Edward towards your little group with his... I mean, I'm giving them all pitchforks, but let's imagine they have a variety of different farm implements.
There's a couple hoes, some shovels.
A
One of
Pulaski.
them has a broom.
A broom would be great.
Yeah.
What's your name, son?
Are you talking to the guy with the musket?
Yeah. Like, what's your names?
My name don't matter. Put the gun down. Give us the valuables.
Wow.
He says under a slightly wavery voice.
Tatiana's just gonna kind of make a mo face at him and be like, "We can't be friends if you're gonna shoot me. Don't you want to be friends?"
I don't want to shoot you, and I don't want to be friends. We're just going to live another day. You're doing all well for yourselves. Tell your friend here to put his heater away.
Her face is going to go completely flat. Like all of the sexual whatever. She's like, he can shoot you before you can shoot me. I'm not worried.
I'm going to give
Does
that
he falter at that?
What?
Does he falter at that?
I mean, we'll find out. It feels like that's another manip. Give yourself a +2 because there's a gun at this guy's head.
Okay. I'm giving myself +3 just because of the way the thing is trying to track my condition, but I have gentleman, which keeps me from being that. So.
Yep, but I remember that doesn't auto track.
So many dice and only one success.
But he's so he kind of says to the other two, boys, we'll meet back at the camp. And he starts to back away from Tatiana, and he keeps the musket raised kind of at Tatiana. He's not like actively like aiming it. He's more kind of got it at hip fire. But he reaches down kind of blindly and reaches for the parasol, and he picks it up and he hands it back to Trish, or at least hands it as far as he can to Trish. He's like, just a misunderstanding. Sorry to have bothered you.
I take it and I like kind of salute him. I was like, good decision, bud.
And he starts to like back away, and then he stops and he says, "What are you fools doing? That brings you down here into hell itself."
And at that, Edward raises his pistol up. We are part of the relief work to try to make your lives better. And he holsters his pistol.
You don't.
But he keeps his hand on it.
Sure. There isn't enough water on that coach to feed a herb garden. There's no relief here.
We are here as part of the organization to spearhead the operation. We are here to organize logistic trains.
There's nothing where you're going. And he starts to walk back a little bit more, and he says, the only thing you're going to find is death and ash. Good luck bringing the dead back. Good luck putting out the fires. The organization. And he continues to back into the forest. The driver takes his like cap off, and he kind of does the whole "ooh, I didn't know we were getting out of that one," and he kind of looks at the rest of you and goes, that was incredible. Wow.
Edward turns to Tatiana and be like, did you have to flirt with him at gunpoint?
I mean, it's true. You could have shot him before he shot me. We both know it.
Not that part. Before.
I'm like holding the parasol and I'm like, Tati, we gotta talk about your standards.
I mean, if
I understand your frustration, but this is reckless and in poor taste.
It worked, didn't
You can
it?
do better.
Tati.
Of course I can, but how better to set them off than to be the rich woman who just
Tatiana
completely
to do better?
shocks them?
Our characters do. Our players do not.
These poor horses are already super tired hauling you guys around. I don't know if they can haul around Tatiana's retinue.
It's okay. She's never going to get one, so it's all good.
Going to get progressively more desperate every adventure.
God.
She's just making her dress make up for the fact that she made one of you guys buy it for her. She's just earning her keep is how she sees this.
Incredible.
In due time, everyone gets back into the coach. The conversation about Tatiana, control and restraint. It happens, whether it's successful or not. Probably not, but you give it the old college try. And the horse team kicks back up. The afternoon progresses to evening. The coach pulls into a small town that has not completely given up on trying to outlast the summer. The inn that is there is barely open and functional. The driver says, "This is our last stop. We'll be reaching the parish tomorrow, probably mid-afternoon. I suggest you get some rest. I'll go water the horses if there's any water around, and let's get going early in the morning when it's cool."
Agreed.
The inn is manned by a husband and a wife who do their best to try to give you some semblance of service, but it's very clear that they are down to their last, what must be weeks of shelf-stable food. A lot of root vegetables in a root cellar that's probably way warmer than it's ought to be.
Ugh.
And yeah, it's never very good, right?
No.
And while they do offer the upstairs rooms, it's easily 20 degrees hotter upstairs than it is downstairs. And so they've actually said it's okay to find a spot either in a cot, that they have some spare cots or some, what passes for couches, benches and the like downstairs where it's, merely as hot as the outside. So we've got time for a scene tonight, if there is a scene that folks want to partake in as you spend the evening before your last leg of your trip.
So this is close to where we're supposed to go, right?
You are close, but at the rate that the horses can travel, right, you're not like dozens of miles away. You're actually quite close. It's just the travel is slow. But it is very warm out, even for the evening. Most everything that is green is not. The air is a bit, polluted with the smell of forest fire.
Are there a lot of people around this inn, or
You
is
are
it
the
pretty deserted?
only visitors.
The only ones. Okay.
Yep. There are a few folks who are running some of the basic necessities of the town, but other than that, you get the sense that if you haven't doubled, you've come close to doubling the population right now of this gathering of buildings.
Mm.
I have a scene for Tatiana, but I also know that I just threw over the stage, so
Keep
Nah,
going.
go for
Do
it.
it.
Yeah.
What?
Cannot get enough.
So again, because she's trying to prove her worth in her twisted Tatiana logic way, she also brought some non-poisonous herbs because she has to prove to Greyfoot that she's not all about the poison all the time. So she has on her some peppermint and some basil. So she's going to make a cooling tea. So even though it's going to be lukewarm to boiling, it's going to help her and whoever's willing to drink it kind of cool down and deal with the heat. So she's going to offer it to their hosts and then to her party. Be like, I know it's tea. I know it's hot. Just trust me. Try this.
All right. This one's not poison, is it?
No, I was preparing to use the hellebore on that brigand, but I didn't have to because Edward got there with his gun.
Edward was already drinking the tea.
As long as you promise.
he trusts her at this point, and it's like, eh, if she does intend to poison them, it's gonna happen eventually.
If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Why fight it?
She's not gonna do it this way.
And as
Such a good attitude to
advertised,
have about it.
it is surprisingly refreshing. I don't think anyone has conditions except for Tatiana, but if you do, this will take that condition off. So if anybody's got conditions, up to 2.
There,
Oh.
I'll give myself exhausted to take it away.
That
this
was
is good tea.
That was definitely something I was surprised that, and I guess I could have thought about putting it in myself, but the literature doesn't have like an exhaustion. Like now that you're here, you have to roll like you had to roll force when you were outside in the blizzard. And I was kind of surprised that wasn't here, but at the same time, I'm not, because I know it's coming.
Not ominous at all.
That's probably for the forest fires.
I mean, if you want to still traipse out into the woods, I've definitely, I've got stats for a forest fire.
By the way, thanks everyone for lighting off fireworks and setting the forests on fire. We really appreciate it.
Oh.
It's as our founding fathers would have intended.
I hate it.
Summer, what a great time to be doing that kind of thing. Not spring.
Or winter.
Winter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, our spring is the wettest time of year, but for you guys, it's probably winter, huh?
Spring's pretty wet too.
Yeah.
It's pretty wet except for summer.
Like in winter, everything's still kind of like dry from fall, so it'd be a bad time to be burning stuff here.
Yeah.
June through September. I think that's
Our
when
June
it's
was-
not wet.
Our June was pretty good. I thought we had
Yeah,
enough rainfall.
this June was actually abnormally wet.
Yeah.
Which was
July
nice.
is actively trying to destroy me.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm crossing my fingers that we don't hear the words heat dome again this year.
Heat dome.
Right.
Better than a battle dome.
The evening progresses as you're nursing your tea. Anything anybody else has in mind before you go to sleep?
I'll ask the proprietors, like, hey, has there been anything besides the drought? Like, before the drought happened, was there anything weird that had occurred? Or, like, right when the drought was beginning?
I know this is as the husband comes to collect empty teacups. This is unnatural, I tell you. This is something else entirely. We've never had. We've had our hot spells, we've had our dry summers before, but this is. And he kind of like lowers his voice and he looks around. He kind of like, I feel like we're being punished. I feel like this is the work of the devil.
Heard that one
Why?
before.
What would you be punished for?
I don't know.
What'd you do?
Too many people turning away from the true path. Too many people not following righteousness. It's just like that woman says down at the mine. We're in the devil's crosshairs.
What else does she say?
Oh, she says all sorts of things.
What's her name?
Whoa. Oh, I don't remember her first name, but her last name is Gideon's daughter.
Gideon's daughter.
Sometimes we go down to the smithworks and we listen to her speak. She talks about the things. Again, it's about people straying from the true path, people who aren't grateful for what they've been given, and that the devil is out, and the devil is doing their work, and the devil can be powerful, but if the people get together, the people do what they're supposed to do and get together, they can overcome them. That's why I think we're being punished. I don't think that everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing.
And what is she saying that you're supposed to be doing?
Well, we work. We work hard. Hard work. A lot of hard work. But with everybody having left, I don't know how much harder we can work.
Is there any specific work she's wanting you to do?
Well, there's plenty of work from time to time at the Smith Works. It's the only place to get a job down here now.
Yeah.
Every time I find somebody to help tend the stables or be a hand for my wife in the kitchen, sooner or later, one of the Smith hands or the foreman comes up, and well, all the strong hands tend to go with them.
Wouldn't it seem that the devil is punishing those who leave? It seems like you are one of the ones who remains dedicated.
I don't know the answer to that. That's why I go listen to the woman down at the Smith Works. You know, that sort of thing, that almighty stuff. Well, that's the understanding the complexities. That's for somebody who's trained in it.
Is she trained in it?
She sounds like a preacher. She talks like a preacher. She wears the clothing of a preacher. I only assume that she's got the education and the training. She talks like she knows what she's talking about. Everyone listens to her.
Well, I might want to take in one of her sermons myself.
They have sermons from time to time, usually in the evenings when things have cooled down a little bit and the people aren't working, and the people who've come in from the mine, or they've ended their day working in the smithy shops, the ore crushing, all that good stuff that happens. She talks a lot.
Sounds like fun. We should go.
I absolutely would like to meet her.
Can't miss her.
Indeed, I'd love to make tea for her as well.
God damn it.
I don't know if she'll take it. Anything
I mean,
that brings...
was it not refreshing?
Oh, refreshing is the devil's work, ma'am. Work, hard work is the best way to beat the devil.
And I suppose I shouldn't leave some mint for you and your wife to enjoy and keep cool after we're gone.
Well, I don't think a little bit for us regular folk will do.
Perhaps it will
harm.
ease the work. Perhaps it will ease the work.
Maybe it'll give us the strength to carry on. Well, I'll go ahead and bust these tables for you, and if there's anything else I can help you with, I'll be more than happy to.
Yeah. On a brighter note, do you have any local stories from the past that might be of interest? We're kind of a group of storytellers, you could say.
Well, I'm not really the one that does the storytelling. I used to have a grandmother who'd tell me stories, but most of them just turned out to be old wives' tales and superstition.
Those are the best.
I don't know.
What was your favorite?
My
Surely
favorite.
you remember your favorite.
Well, I think there was a story about a troll woman. And this troll woman, she had a son. And she had desires to make sure that her son would prosper and be successful. In the human world, you see, it's a story about, the folk who are different trying to live amongst the folk who are, they would call themselves normal, I suppose. And I think that the trick was that the trolls were able to clean clothes in a way that the people in the kingdom could never clean their clothes. And they used their special troll magic to hide their warts and their big noses and their tails and the hair in their ears. And they started a business of cleaning clothes, and they were very, very good. They'd used troll magic to clean it, of course. And so, well, one day the king heard of this laundromat of laundry service, and they wanted to find out if it was true, and they brought their clothes down. And of course, these were king's clothes, so they were very expensive and fancy and difficult to clean and not ruin. And so the troll woman, of course, took the clothes and took the payment, but she fell in love with the clothes. She couldn't bear to part with them. They were the most fine clothes she'd ever seen. And, well, she knew she had to give them back. So what she did was that she gave the clean clothes to her son and told her son to go up and return the clothes, but make certain to cast a little troll magic when he was counting the clothes back, so that the humans wouldn't realize that they were missing clothes. And so she cleaned the clothes and gave the clothes to her son, and except for a dress, a beautiful dining dress. You see, she would never be able to fit into it, but she would put it up on a hanger and just stare at it all day, humming tunes to herself, closing her eyes, imagining herself dancing in this beautiful dress. And the son would take the clothes back to the castle where the king was, and he was admitted into the main audience hall to present the clothes. And, well, he being a handsome troll magic, he's got a magic disguise, and he sees that the king's got a daughter, and the daughter looks at him, and he produces all of the clothes, and then he gives this little rhyme. I don't remember the rhyme. My grandmother said it. I just something about counting or something. I don't know. He casts the little spell, and he fools everybody into thinking that he's returned all the clothes, and the clothes are beautiful. They haven't looked this beautiful since the day they were made. And he delivers it, and the king and the queen are so impressed, and the daughter's impressed, and he goes back to the house, and this continues on for months. Everybody brings them the clothes. The mom washes them. They're clean. And then the king sends the laundry, and then they clean it. And then the mom keeps another article, and then another article. But the son goes up and recites the rhyme, and nobody misses the clothing. But of course, who wouldn't want to, be with a young, strapping gentleman who appears to be the heir to a blossoming industry in your local town that does something better than anybody else can? And, well, the daughter has eyes on the son, the son has eyes on the daughter, and, well, one thing leads to another. The next thing you know, they're walking together through the woods, and they're talking, and they're, sharing a milkshake down at the malt shop, and, what's a malt shop? I don't know.
Must be some kind of medieval thing. Ernst makes a note to look up malt shop.
Malt?
Until one day, when he's bringing the clothes back after they've been cleaned, and he makes eyes with the daughter, and the daughter makes eyes, and, well, he forgets to deliver the rhyme. And as he's sort of talking with her off to the side a little bit, the queen shrieks out, Where's my daughter's dress? Where is Hilda's dress? It was here. And at that point, the son realizes he'd forgotten the rhyme, and he says, "Oh, well, it has to be there. Are you sure it's missing?" And the queen says, "Of course it's missing. I would remember it was missing. Where is the dress?" And at that point, the son's like, "Well, I'll go back to the shop and I'll see if it's there, and if it's there, I'll bring it back." And the queen, incensed, says, "You're not going alone, you little thief. You'll never come back. Guards, go with him. Husband, what are you doing sitting there on the throne? Go with them." Oh, the pot's in the fire now, thinks the son, trying to figure out a way to get out of this. He constantly tries to reassure the king. "Oh, it's just a mistake. It happens. We have a lot of laundry. It's probably mixed in with somebody else's order, and we'll find it, and you'll be okay. You look like you're a very busy person. You don't." And the king's like, "Oh, it's okay. I've wanted to come down and see what your business is anyway. I should know what's going on in my kingdom. It's okay. This is a good stretch of the legs." That's not what the son wants to hear. And as they get closer to the shop, the son hears humming. The kind of humming that he knows his mother makes when she is sitting in her chair, staring at the stolen clothing from the king and the queen, imagining her life as a human, as a noble, as a rich person. And the door opens, and the king and the guards and the son walk in to the scene of 7, 8 dresses hanging around the old mother, and the king cries out, "Thieves! All of these are our garments, thieves!" And the mother snaps out of it, and she cries out to her son, "You fool, you forgot the rhyme!" And as the king calls out for the guards to seize them, the mother spins a spell. And from the floor, vines wrap around the ankles and legs of the king and the guards. And she grabs what she can in the moment that she has, and she cries to her son, "We must go!" And they flee, never to return to the village. And the young son never to find himself in the company of the beautiful princess. And the princess, who immediately loses her affection for a common thief in a common occupation. How silly it was of her to think that a common person could be trusted or worth the time and energy and effort. And so the story ended with the mother and the son having fled society, having gone and found a mountain of their own. But sometimes travelers will come back from a day of hiking or an afternoon of fishing, and they'll report that they heard humming. The humming of what must have been an old woman living in a pleasant dream. And that is the story that my grandmother told me.
Aw.
Oh, that
such
is a
sad
wonderful
ending.
story. Thank you.
Yeah, you're a very good storyteller.
Well, thank you.
Tears in her eyes, she hands over the mint leaves. Her grandmother sounded like a wonderful woman. Please, have this, and may your family stay cool in the days to come.
I thank you. And my wife thanks you. And kind of from the back, and the wife hopes that the husband can come and finish the chores too. Oh, excuse me. And he scurries off. Ay, ay, ay.
That was such
Where
a
did
good
that story come from? It's almost
That
as
was
if I have a
wonderful.
book of folklore tales that I'm grasping at trying to remember.
Yeah. I was trying to see if maybe
S-
there would have been like a story relevant to heat, but
You really got into that
it's
story.
still a nice
Actually,
story.
speaking of
I
which,
may have woven one or two things in there somewhere.
Yeah, no, I've made note of
Mhm.
a couple things. Yeah.
uh, speaking of books of folklore,
Oh, Ernst
uh,
has heard this story before, by the way.
I believe so. I was
This is a
uh,
pretty common troll tale.
yeah, I was like this sounds like something that is. So Ernst is listening to it, making note of an interesting regional variation here. I wonder. Yeah, so comparing, contrasting, doing. He cannot turn off his professor brain.
Nope. Nope. But I think I interrupted you, Ernst.
Oh no, that was all that Ernst was doing. Just
All right.
mentally filing away any new variations, any differences to perhaps after this is done I can return down to Smolandia and study some of the folk tales down here. It might be a refreshing trip
Mm-hmm.
in the winter.
Mm. All right. Ooh, I think who else was due a scene? It was Trish. Who asked for this? Who asked for the story?
Now,
I did.
Edvard asked for
Edvard
That
the.
was
asked for
Edward,
the story.
actually.
No,
Cool.
never mind. Sorry. You're right. I didn't.
So, there doesn't have to be. We can definitely move on. Or if there was something.
My soul asked for the story.
I think everyone's did.
It was good.
It was lovely.
I enjoyed it a
Tatiana
lot.
was ready to strangle the man, so the story was very good.
Strangle the man? What?
All of that talk about religion and the devil and hard work, and
Well,
you shouldn't have pee that makes you feel better. You should suffer.
He can't help it. He's just fallen for a cult of personality.
Yeah, I actually want to see, do any of the rest of us twig to Tatiana's increased murderous streak here?
Oh my god, it's like she's possessed by a
that
spirit.
feels like a read the room. I mean, if you want to roll an observation, knock yourself out.
I would
We've
love
noticed
to observe
dramatic
Tatiana
change.
here.
Wow, all
because
the
Sweet
dice
Tati.
flowed at once.
Oh wow.
Come on,
Wow.
Trish.
Oh yeah, something's going on with my Tati. I'll do an investigation as well.
No, it'll be an observation.
Observation? Oh, okay, cool. That's better, probably.
Are you hiding this, Tatiana?
Tati's
muted.
thirst for blood.
She's keeping her mouth shut, but you can definitely see in her face that she is restraining herself from strangling him, and then just loses herself in the story as it goes on.
Yeah. I mean, I think it makes sense for Trish because they've known Tati so long,
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely.
Trish is just like looking at Tati like something weird's going on here. Tati, are you okay? You seem stressed.
He's bad-mouthing the devil.
I mean, yes,
The
most
devil is the
people do.
horned one. Why do these people in this stupid new religion?
Well, I mean, it's all they know.
No,
They live very complicated, hard lives, and they don't have a lot of time to think about that kind of stuff.
but he's turning
They-
away the stories from his grandmother for this preacher. Anyway, preacher woman.
Well, Tatiana, that's what we're here to fix. And yes, every region has its own local superstitions and local religions. Some of them are going to be agreeable and some of them are not. We have a job to do. We need to get some rest. And hoping in the morning our heads will be a bit cooler, both literally and figuratively. And we can get to the work that we are here to do.
She's going to look Trej and then Ernst in the eye, and then give a firm, resolute nod, and then shove a mouthful of mint into her mouth, and then stalk to her cot. Like, I need to show restraint that has been beaten into me today, so I'm gonna go lay down.
I'm kind of worried. After she walks away, I'm gonna turn to Ernst and be like, I don't know. I'm kind of worried about her. Something's really bugging her. More than normal.
I know she hasn't been the same since that Samuel person locked her in a closet.
I think he's corrupted her.
Being incredibly hot and uncomfortable because he's still fully dressed up. Just being like, it sounds like she needs a good tumble in the hay.
Yes, her delicate feminine constitution. It's hysteria.
We simply need to find someone suitable who won't.
She just needs a really good doctor.
He's a suitor.
She just needs a really good doctor to relieve her of her hysteria. That's all. Her uterus is all over her body right now.
God damn it.
Her uterus is creeping all around.
My sister had a touch of hysteria in her youth, and
oh boy.
It's a good ritual around the fire, and for y'all to look the other way and go to bed. That's all.
Yeah.
In the 1900s.
Oh man.
Oof.
God.
The evening creeps up. I mean, you know, you're more than welcome to take a room upstairs, or if you want to hang out where it's slightly less warm downstairs, you're more than welcome to. It's uncomfortable. It's a bit warm, but you're also exhausted, and so sleep does find you. But I think the best way to do this is a straight up empathy roll from everybody.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oof, so close. Can I push it? How can I push this?
You're asleep. I don't think you can.
Oh, okay.
The button's right there.
I'm sleeping hard.
Right.
I'm really tired.
I was hoping at least some successes, but you know, you're all hot and tired and stuff.
At least we're not hot and bothered like some people.
Damn it.
Thank you for saying what we were all thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
Yes.
Terrible.
Your sleep is mildly productive. You find yourself in a place of comfort, your office. You're working on researching. You're making notes, and you find that you're making notes and recalling the story that this innkeeper has told you about the mother and the son, and comparing it to other things that you've heard. And you kind of begin to smell smoke, and you stand up from your desk, and as you walk closer to the door, the smell of the smoke is getting stronger. You put your hand on the door, and it's warm, and instinctively you say, well, I'm not going out this way. And you turn around, and the office that you are in has kind of reset itself now to where when you turn, your desk, your bookshelves, the things that make up your office are no longer there. As you turn now, you find yourself in the what you know as a laundry facility. You are surrounded by cauldrons, and the cauldrons are manned by what look like winged imps, and they're stirring these pots, and it's hot, and the smell of smoke is now coming from these open fires underneath these cauldrons. This is not how laundry is done, Ernst. You walk between these cauldrons, and the imps are much like they're very iguana like, or very Gila monster. I don't know when Komodo Island was discovered, but if it's been discovered by now, maybe Komodo dragonish. They're semi-bipedal. They're not smooth skin. They've got scales. They're a little bit humanoid, but they've got wings, bat wings. And they're stirring these ladles, and you instinctively walk up. And when you look in the cauldron, what you expect to find is laundry, because there's clothes hanging around. When you look in, it's not water, it's magma. And it's this pool of magma, and in this pool of magma is the clothes that are being put in, and they don't burn. And it's very disconcerting. And as these imps pull the clothes out, they are now the magma, which I guess it's above ground, so it's technically lava. The lava streaks down and leaves trails on these clothes. And like the story, finer wear would have gold thread and wire interweaved. And so these common clothes that are hanging and being thrown in these cauldrons that are being stirred in this lava and pulled out are now very fine. And it's very alluring. And against your better judgment, because I mean, these just got pulled out of a cauldron of lava. They're probably ripping hot, right? But you reach out to touch it. And as you touch it, it's luxurious to the feel, and you have this need to take it. Whoever the rightful owner of this clothing was, now you feel the need to take it. And almost instinctually, your hand gets thwacked by this paddle of this imp who hisses at you, and you stagger back. And then another imp begins to hiss, and then another imp, these little reptiloid winged reptiles start to hiss at you, and they come down off their little, because they're on little step stools, because these cauldrons are bigger than they are, right? And you kind of back away. I'm sorry, we don't want any trouble. You reach for your flask. Maybe they like alcohol. And they kind of stop crowding in on you, and then their mouths start to form in these long, wicked, toothy grins. And you realize now there's a light behind you, because you can now see this massive shadow. It's your shadow being cast in front of you. And you turn around instinctively to this light. And what you see for this brief moment is this large maw and this light pouring out. And this light is intense. It is brighter than the sun. It is hotter than anything you've been around. And as it hits you, you feel like your very being is on the verge of incinerating. And that's when you pop out of it and you wake up with a shout.
Yeah, I kind of go around, get my bearings again. I pat my own clothes, kind of see.
You are not on fire.
I'm wearing wearing my own clothes. I'm not on fire. I'll look around and see if my startling awake woke anybody else up.
Before you do that, though, this was a pretty over the top nightmare. We have to figure out your fear response.
Uh-oh.
I know you're probably gonna logic your way out of this as you're patting down your clothes and stuff, but I'm hoping that you punch something.
Yeah, so it's been a while. Walk me through fear.
Logic or empathy.
Okay.
You just need one success.
Yeah, I am.
And then if you don't get a success, you'll roll a die 6 for the number of rounds, and then you get to choose: flee, fight, faint.
All right, I am.
You're out of it. It's just a dream. It's just a dream.
Yeah.
You check yourself. You pat yourself down.
Yeah, I am doing the mental kind of checklist of, oh, this element came from the folktale that we were told today. This element came from the robbery. These are the anxieties that have been working on me. All of that kind of. So they're going, okay. I'm doing the Ebenezer Scrooge. There's more of gravy than the grave about you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still hot as hell, but I try to settle myself back down to sleep.
I think the only person who woke was Fulkir. And so I'll ask Tatiana if Fulkir leaves your side ever. Like if Fulkir sees Ernst wake with a start, would Fulkir know that dog therapy is necessary, or has there ever been any kind of response from Ernst whenever Fulkir comes around? I mean, that's the question that inquiring minds want to know.
I think Volkir definitely, like, Trizh is a second pet parent to them, but then Ernst is probably next because Tatiana typically is trying to take care of Ernst and is probably a little bit standoffish towards Edvard just because she senses another predator. But like she would wake up, and if Tatiana was fine, would probably go over and try to give comfort. Volkir would, not Tatiana.
And Ernst is comfortable enough with Volkir, give her scratches, and does exactly what Volkir hopes, and does help soothe him back down and reassure him that all is well, at least in this little corner of this overheated inn, in this blasted hellscape.
Well, and I think what's helping is Volkir is licking every part of your exposed skin that she can. And so any type of breeze is just feeling a little bit cooler because she's just grooming you to feel better.
All right.
Normally, Ernst is a little bit fastidious about that kind of stuff, but right now it's so blasted hot, and it is a comfort.
All right. That takes us to the morning. The driver kind of rouses everybody before dawn. It is much more agreeable, as agreeable as it can get, and loads folks and their stuff into the wagon. There is a very simple breakfast that is provided of water and porridge that's probably made with water, and some simple breakfast and a quick pack job, and the group is off on the final leg of their journey. It only takes a few hours for the wagon to finally get to the farmstead of let's see, who is Alfred Herenstam, who wrote you that letter the better part of a week ago. It's about midday because of the horse's speed to get you where you are. The farmstead is much like everything else that you've seen. Most everything is burned to a crisp. There are some animal carcasses off in the distance. They seem to have been moved away from the home and put into a pile. There are underneath a stand of trees that are just barely hanging on. You note 2 crosses and 2 mounds that seem relatively recently made. But you are at the end of the driveway, so to speak, of the farmstead. There is a singular domicile ahead of you, and then some more like small, like what I would call a goat barn, not like full-size barns or anything, but more like goat barn sort of structures off in the distance. And the driver gets out and says, "Well, this is it. This is the Heronstam homestead. Lovely place, wouldn't you think?" As he's wiping his brow and offloading the stagecoach, the carriage.
Great. Thank you for your time and service. Apologies of the weather.
It is what it is. Hopefully it'll break. Hopefully some relief can come our way. Hopefully winter can come. If there's anybody left to enjoy it.
And here's hoping.
Well, this is, and he has a little card. This is where you can, I don't even know if the post is still working around here, but if the post is working, this is how you can reach me. And this little card with a address. Based on the address, he's probably going to be 2 days away by the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you for keeping your head with all of that nonsense on the road.
Not the first time I guess I've been held up by brigands, but I was surprised there are any left around. You'd think they'd have all left.
I hope that those poor souls also take north and find better things.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say. Tough times bust the chumps.
I'll
I've
remember
never
that.
heard that one before.
I'll remember that. I like that.
What are you saying for me?
He offloads the stuff and begins to whip the wagon and get it going in the direction he needs to take it.
Perfect. So, as we head up to the front door of this place that we need to go.
I suspect someone will knock.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a just a moment from inside, and after 15 seconds the door opens, and before you is a thin dark-haired man, and he looks at you all and he says, oh, it's, are you from Uppsala?
No, we are from the society. You must be Alfred Heronstam.
It is I. Thank you for coming so quickly. I hope that it wasn't too hard of a trip. It's kind of rough going right now around here.
I understand. Our trip was far more pleasant than it sounds like your past few months have been.
There's Alfred.
Look at him, Tati.
I know, like the minute he shows up, Trish kind of like looks at Tati like,
So, on first glance, Alfred is a shy before 30, but he seems older. He is sporting quite the elegant mustache, as you can see. However,
he looks like he's had a rough life.
However, there is grief and anguish. His skin is pale and gray. His eyes definitely have sunken in. The bags around his eyes are obvious. His suit was once a fine suit, but it has certainly aged poorly. It is yellowing where it should be white, frayed where it should be intact. His clothes.
This is definitely a Tim Burton character.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he is just broken enough for Tatiana to go for
very
it.
Tati's type. I'm like ready to hold Tati back, like, like in case she lunges at him.
So
You're mine.
the thing that I think Trish knows that Ernst and Edward are probably figuring out is that she tries to hold herself back and then she snaps. And so since she gets
too desperate.
She's just like, she's making eyes at him, but she's not saying anything. She's not moving to the front of the group. She's here to do the job. She heard what you all said yesterday. But she just really wants to straighten that tie for him.
If I'm picking up on any of the tension that Tatiana has here, I'm going to try and give a surreptitious go for it.
I am ignoring this.
So she's going to feel encouraged from Ernst and look at Trish.
You're an adult woman with needs. I can't. I couldn't stop you if I tried.
You're in a safe space. We're not going to judge. Just
force of nature, Tati. Just try to keep it as professional as possible. This is a job.
Then I'll wait.
Right? He opens a door. You introduce you. He asks you from the side. You say from the side. He says, "Oh, thank you so much for getting here as quickly as you did. I hope that the journey wasn't too tiring or exhausting." And then he says, "Please come in." And he kind of opens the door the rest of the way, gestures in. There's an arm out there, and like a falcon to the falconeer. I think Tatiana just clamps on, right? Is that what's happening? Almost.
I mean, the problem is with Tim Burton characters, there's also that manicness. And I think she's got Ernst's buy-in. So I think what she's going to do is she's going to have a fine piece of fabric. And she's like, "Do you mind? It really looks like you're suffering." And she's just going to kind of gesture. And she's gesturing at his throat, but she's not being very clear about what she is. But please, just let me help you with this.
And no, he knows he's wearing an ascot. He knows that it's seen better days.
Fix you.
And he says, whatever you'd like. I think that let's come inside where it's just a little bit cooler. Your friends, please come in. I've got some refreshments.
Yeah, she's just gonna push him back out of the doorway and rip that ascot off, holding whatever pendant is there, and just kind of like loosening up his shirt a little bit, and then fashioning this new silk scarf around and tying it looser so that he can breathe a little bit. But
thank you. I wasn't expecting this level
and
of.
It's silk, so it'll be a little bit cooler as well in this weather.
Well, thank you. It's very kind of you. The other three of you, as you walk in, this is a very simple homestead. It is dimly lit. There, with one kerosene lamp. Any more would heat the house far more than tolerable. There's a fireplace, but obviously the fireplace is out. There's a simple table, set of chairs, a couple of doors off to some other rooms, very simple kitchen area. It needs a dusting, needs a bit of a sweeping. But once this new Sylph Scarf ascot, whatever is it a new ascot, Tatiana, is that what we're gonna call it? He kind of perks up and he's like, well, let me repay this kindness. And he walks over to a very dusty bottle and a small assortment of cups. And he lays them out at the table. He says, here, have a drink. Wash the dust out of your mouths. And he pours, an appropriate amount of brandy in each cup. One for himself. And he says, please, to new friends. And he holds up his cup.
Take a shot.
New friends.
Drink to that. It's cool.
She'll make sure to clink cups with him before drinking.
Yeah, Edward can't ignore. It's a bit too blatant now.
Oh,
It's like this one looks unassuming enough. Like, does this person look unassuming enough to be all like, I don't need to like immediately interrogate this person at gunpoint?
he looks pretty broken. I don't think it takes a roll to realize that he is as much a victim of the circumstances around as possible. I mean, if you want to, I don't think he's done and said enough yet for you to be able to get a read off of him. But put that on the back burner, and if at an appropriate time, if you want to do an observation check, just let me know.
Yeah, we'll do.
Well, thank you for making it out here. To be honest, I was not sure about contacting you, but something just drove me to write you. My mom, well, she was more into the superstition and the folklore and I don't know if it did her much good or not. I had to bury her and my father out underneath what's left of the only thing that's alive on this farm, it seems like. To be true and honest, I almost didn't write because I am packing up, as you can see, and he kind of gestures to a corner of the room where there's some suitcases. Says, I'm going to leave for America. I'm going to leave for America, where I believe I can regain my status and my wealth and my prosperity. But you see, I can't do it without my brother. I can't do it without my brother. I have to save August. And by I mean you. My brother has to go to America with me. We have to leave here together. So I hope you can do that for me. I hope you can find out what it is that's changed him so.
We have heard on our travel down here that preacher woman is quite compelling.
She is very compelling. She is evangelist of the highest order, and that ability to convince and compel and twist words, that is what has gotten into my brother's mind. That is what has turned him on the path that he's on. My brother's a good man. But
of course, he's. Oh, we can bring him back for you.
So please, if there's anything I can do to help, actually, I was thinking about what I have that might be of use for you. Have you ever been down here before? Have you ever been to Smolandia?
I have not had the pleasure, no.
I think it would be useful for you. And he kind of goes over to a very simple writing desk and he pulls out some papers and he I'm never coming back, but you might need this. And he hands Ernst a rolled up map.
Ernst takes it less giddily than I do, but he does not understand the joy of an RPG player getting a new map.
The homestead, and he kind of opens it up and he points to the upper left-hand corner, is here. I've marked it for you. Our ironworks are down here on the bank of the lake, and he points to the Harmston, Herod ironworks, which is marked on your map. It's really only a couple of kilometers away from here. You're more than welcome to stay here. My brother has turned suspicious and combative and does not take to guests who just randomly show up. I do not recommend walking in and saying, hey, your brother called us in to help you figure out why you're under some devil woman's spell. Probably won't go well with him.
We will employ some discretion. I have heard tell that she gives evening sermons.
Oh, yeah. Beta. Yeah, she calls them revival meetings, and she hosts them in the workers' quarters. They have a building where they sleep. In the evenings, they do that. What is today? Well, she might be having one tonight now that I think about it. A lot of folks show up from around the lake, too, people who haven't left. They come and listen to her. She's quite convincing. She brings relief for them in a way that other people can't. I'm sorry?
Revival meetings. Does this involve dancing and worshiping of the god, or just more of the speeches that we've heard?
We sit and we listen and she talks. And sometimes she'll call out for an amen or something, and we'll give that to her, but no one interrupts her. No. Beta is not to be spoken to when she gets into one of her speeches, her orations, as she likes to call them.
Now, after her oration, does she mingle among the crowd at all, or does she?
Nope. She is very rarely seen out in the ironworks. She's I suspect she spends a great deal of time in my brother's house.
Where is your brother's house? Looking at the map.
Well, I don't really have a map of the like an official map of the ironworks.
What is?
But let me see if I can't draw something up for you.
He lives on the premises of the ironworks itself.
August does, yes, as does Beta. And the Ore Boys.
Ore Boys, is that just the employees working there?
Yes. They're all called Ore Boys. There are the Ore Boys who got on the lake, and they dredge for the iron. There are the Ore Boys who are in the mill, where the ore is crushed. There are the Ore Boys in the smithy, where the ore is pounded. There are the Ore Boys in the blast furnace, what melt the mineral away from the slag. There are the Ore Boys in the warehouse, where the ingots are stored before being shipped out. And there are the Ore Boys who work the evening shift just to keep the machines that need to be kept going, keep the fire lit. And then there's Swine. And Swine keeps the Ore Boys in line. And as he's talking through and mentioning all these locations, he draws out on another sheet of paper from his writing desk a map that doesn't look nearly as good as this one. But, there we go. August and Beta stay in our villa, the home that my brother and I built when we got the ironworks started. We were very successful. Very successful indeed. And then Beta showed up, and August turned. He became spiteful and mad and developed a level of greed that I've never seen in my brother before. They work the men to their breaking point, but the men stay because there's no other work to be found. And anybody who gets an idea in their heads stands up to August. Well, that's where Swine comes in. He's the foreman. And an angrier, meaner cuss doesn't exist on this peninsula. You can't miss him. He fell into a vat of molten iron, burned his face, and part of his shoulder and arm, scarring him horribly. It didn't kill him. Just made him angrier.
My God. Sounds mental AF.
Yeah, that is, as the youth say, metal AF.
As foretold, indeed.
Trush is just like, rah.
So,
No,
did this heat wave happen before Berta? Because I have to ask, this seems very unnatural, this heat wave that's been going on.
When did she arrive?
first step in an investigation: establish a timeline.
We've been running this ironsmith. We've been running this foundry for well over 10 years now. And everything was going fine. I mean, sure, I think over the last couple of years, things have been more difficult for the folks around from here. I mean, it was... We started to have locals talk about the weather. It had gotten warmer a bit. But it just always meant that we had workers for the foundry. But it's never been this bad. It's never been this bad. But Beta, well, Beta's been around for probably the better part of a year now. And it has to be her what turned my brother. I didn't see when it happened, but it's as clear as the looks on their faces that something has happened. 'Cause Beta, when she got her hooks into my brother, his eyes... You're never going to believe me when I say this. His eyes shine like hers does. They shine like gold.
Have you ever found gold in your operation?
Not to my knowledge. We've never had that kind of rock here. We'd always laughed, wouldn't it be funny if? But the iron ore that we mine comes off the bottom of the lake. The ore boys go out into the boats and they dredge the lake and they bring the ore in and we crush it and we smelt it. We throw the slag off to the side and we sell the ingots to industry.
Any stories of things living in the forests or the bog? Things that might have glowing eyes? Superstitions your mother might have told you.
Oh, oh, my mom told stories of the little gnomes that help a farm run. And if you make them angry, they tie your hair into knots that you can't undo. But
get angry when you steal their shoes until you make them porridge, and she's just gonna smile at Trish.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But never stories of little farm sprites to help run a foundry. I always felt like that was Augustin Mines. That wasn't anybody else's. We were very proud of what we had done, and the money that we made meant that our farm could stay with us when so many other people left or failed. I don't know about the weather. But what I do know is that Beta has to be stopped so that August and I can just sell this foundry and then leave. Just leave this all behind.
Agreed. And our line of questioning is to get to that goal. But we do need to have a full appraisal of the local area's history, as well as anything unusual that has happened, maybe with her or outside of her. Like, have there been any unusually loud noises? Fires that seem to crop up for no reason?
I don't know. I just know that I know that the lake is named in the old tongue for the army. But I don't know what army they're referring to. I've never heard of a war being fought here in my lifetime or in my parents' lifetime or my great-grandparents' lifetime. But that's the only thing I know of for any kind of I'm sorry, I didn't I should have asked maybe my mom for more stories, I suppose.
Understood. Did she have any books?
We're simple farmers.
Topics?
My parents' reading was there was only one thing that you read.
The Bible.
I understand. I understand that your brother has come under the influence of this woman. Trying to figure out what it is that drew her here in the first place. What drew her to the ironworks in particular? Is it just one of the more stable businesses in the area?
That makes sense. That makes sense. When she first came, she called herself a circuit preacher. I didn't know what that meant. I think it probably has something to do with the fact that she did travel from place to place where there were people.
Mm.
But something about August, she felt it necessary to stay, and she felt it necessary to control him, and in doing so, drive a wedge between him and I. Now I am here. My brother doesn't look or sound anything like he used to.
Mm.
It's that damn moving uterus.
We will do what we can to bring your brother back to the fold.
Agreed.
One other question. When did Swine have his accident? Is that further in the past than the appearance of this creature, or is that a recent
before,
change?
yes.
Okay, long
Yes.
ago. So he was always a hard nose at the
He
grindstone,
was
always
always
a
hard
terror.
nosed to begin with.
All right.
Was Pig the name he was given before or after the accident?
No. Swine came as swine, and swine he remains.
Gosh.
He's dangerous. Anytime there has been trouble, anytime a couple of the Ore Boys get ideas, he finishes the conversation. He finishes it effectively. I think you could get past Swine if you were business people. If you were there to discuss business. August is very, very driven to be more wealthy. There isn't the idea of running a successful foundry, the idea of being people who provided work, the idea of making something better for our parents. That's all gone. It's all about money now with August. I think there was some talk about you going and listening to Beta's Revival. Those are the sorts of things where I think you could make it onto the property. But if you try to find another way, don't be caught.
Understood.
To be honest, I'm quite amazed that when they threw me out, they didn't unleash Swine on me, but there's still something in there that remains of August. He let me leave with my clothes and all of my body parts.
I suppose we'll chalk that up as a last vestige of brotherly love. There is hope, but this is dire. I am sorry for the state that you are in right now.
I appreciate that. The silence kind of descends, and Alfred is sort of like begins the process of kind of opening up some of the rooms, and this is my room, this is mine and August's room, and this is my parents' room, and I think I can find something to serve as a mattress for somebody else. And he starts taking like luggage and asking where it gets distributed. But there's a little bit of time, unless we want to fast forward. Oh, actually, you all can tell me what you want to do next.
I think next we need to discuss our plan of attack.
Agreed.
I'm worried about this creature lady. He's not in the room with us, right? Like, we're on our own, we're talking.
You may absolutely walk outside and have a conversation.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
she
think
sounds
Edward
like...
would ask at one point, just be like, Hey, is there anyone that might know of why this lake is named after an army? If there was
I
anyone
actually happen to have, when doing the reading up on this region, uh, the folklore is my specialty. I explained to Alfred. Uh, but give Jerry some time to scroll up in his own notes.
understood.
Okay. Yes. I don't. I don't have a huge amount of information. The folklore is old and sketchy, but the villagers banded together hundreds of years ago, or so the legend says, to slay a ferocious beast that roamed this area. The army, from which the lake gets its name, drove the beast to its cave, and a mighty sorceress called down a rainstorm that flooded the valley, submerged the cave, and made the lake that exists today.
Sorcerer or sorceress? Could you repeat that for me?
Sorceress.
Thank you.
Of course, of course.
That's very interesting because the way they speak about this preacher lady, I just thought she was very charismatic, natural leader, but now I'm wondering if she has real real power. I'm worried if we go listen to her lecture if we'll be bewitched.
Tatiana has an evil smile on her face. But, yeah, that's all.
When we are in private and not in Alfred's earshot, I'm going to air some of my speculations. I have a suspicion she's not just looking for iron contracts.
Agreed. I think
If
they found something else.
if I were of the betting persuasion, I imagine they found something in the lake, and we ought to find a way to talk to some of the dredgers.
Might there be a tavern they go to, or do you think they all just stay at the mill all the time? Or the ironworks?
There are lodgings at the ironworks, so they're
Yeah, they have their
might
lodgings
be.
there, and it sounds as if they are kept under an iron fist. Yes, I'm not one of those cowards who doesn't intend his puns.
Terrible.
I love it. Let's see here. Ernst, I don't think your quick scrolling of the parish map gives you an idea that there's anything that's within. Yeah, like the closest thing to the ironworks is the Heronston homestead and something that's called Brotorpit, but it looks like it might just be the name of another homestead. You don't see anything on the map that suggests that it's that there's like a village or a town nearby in walking distance.
It is a company town.
Yes, I believe they are very isolated from anyone else here. So, I believe, posing as business people, maybe in our best interest, we can get our foot in the door that way. I have a little bit too much of the scholar on me and the academic to really pull that off, but Edward, you seem canny and savvy in business dealings and manage your estate and affairs. Would you be able to make those inroads for us?
I think so. At the very least, I do have some money to throw around to at least catch their interest.
That's true.
Oh, what do we sell?
Oh, no, we don't sell anything to them. We buy.
Invest.
Ah. It's much easier.
Mm-hmm. Wish to invest and possibly franchise their ironworks all across the globe. Because if they, yeah, I could see it. Since they're able to turn quite, I'm assuming they're able to turn a profit, or else they wouldn't still be here.
It seems like the only thing in the area that does turn a profit now.
Yeah. Given the blistering heat, interest in getting at the ground floor of a grand enterprise would stroke his ego in quite the right way.
Very well.
Hmm.
You are the interested and eager investor. We are a somewhat motley assortment of companions.
Yes, I do think you would fit quite well as the part of a surveyor. Someone who observes the land to ascertain the value.
I don't know much of that myself, but if you give me some phrases and words I can fall back on, I can play the part.
Corporate buzzwords.
They just hand out a buzzword bingo sheet.
Yeah.
Oh my god, they actually have those. I know they do.
Oh yeah.
I've seen them.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Not even used ironically.
Hmm.
I have a wonderful idea, but I don't think it fits with the premise we're going for.
What is your idea? We're at the early planning stages, of course.
What if Trish and I formed a different group just outside? We were trying to bring down the rainstorm, like the sorceress, through the river or the creek near Herod Ironworks. Trish, you haven't been able to perform in so long. What better way to get stories out of the men than if we bring them outside of the ironworks?
Oh, what, like a little performance to try to tantalize them away from their work?
Yeah, our own revival meeting, as it were.
Sounds like fun. I've been working on a few new tricks.
And
Pull out my deck of cards and like flop it around, I guess.
prepare Alfred and his brother for the American revival scene that involves lots of dancing and worship. We just won't be worshiping the same god Beta does.
It's a little bit of divide and conquer. I like it.
Bit of a distraction for sure.
Yeah.
Well, catch the attention of the businessmen and then see what we might find from the workers.
It's true. I don't imagine that Edward, you or I are going to get invited to the workers' quarters to have conversations with the people we would need to have conversations with.
No.
I like this idea of a split focus.
It definitely gives me something to do, as I don't think I fit the part of a business person wearing my outfit. I guess I could always do a costume change, but who wants to do that? Not me.
Play to your strengths. Play to your strengths.
Exactly.
Awesome. Sounds like there's a plan.
Yeah.
And the afternoon, it sounds like actually you would make your foray now. It sounds like you would want to do your work in the daytime. Collecting what you think that you will need, getting some water from Alfred. You make your way down the road, just a couple of kilometers. As you approach a reservoir and a bridge across the reservoir, you get a view of the operations from a distance. And as you make your approach to the Harita Ironworks, you note that the actual ironworks are some few hundred meters away from the lake itself. But what catches you and kind of gives you flashbacks to when your group first got together and started working, it's the roar of industry that breaks the silence as you get closer and closer. The works are powered by running water that runs an ore crusher, and that ore crusher is constantly grinding, and the sound of the machinery and the smashing of the ore just is ubiquitous in your environment now. As you approach the ironworks, the area is just classic 19th century, just soot and smoke pouring out of most of the buildings, and that soot is settling on everything, the ground, trees, the road, and as you get closer you can actually see it settling somewhat on you. And the center of the works is this massive building that's got these huge plumes of smoke jutting out of them. The map, Ernst, that Alfred scrawled for you is mapped as the blast furnace itself. It is much warmer here as you're walking towards it than any place else that you have been. And we leave with this final scene as you're making your way. We'll do the dual approach next time, so that each group has an opportunity over the week to kind of discuss in finer detail your approach. But what you note is that you've seen industry. You have probably seen a foundry at some point in your travels. The blast, the building that is the blast furnace, typically you see just smoke pouring out of it, but there is almost today we would like call it like an afterburner, right? There is this jet of fire, but it doesn't look like a fire that you would have in a fireplace. It doesn't look like a fire that you would have seen. Should just be smoke pouring out of the chimney, but the smoke is being thrown out at a velocity, and there is this concentrated, very yellow, not flickering reds and oranges and whatever, but a jet of fire coming straight out the top for several meters before it is enveloped in the smoke that it is spewing out. You suspect that is maybe a key to their success, but it is definitely different from the norm. And how we get into the ironworks and whether or not we can pass off as investors or pass off as revivalists, we will have to find out next time as we enter episode 3 of Fireheart. So we'll see you when we see you, everybody.